The Hottest 100, of course, is a big event in the music calendar and the Triple J calendar. I, of course, am 29 years old. I have no business caring about the Hottest 100. And to be honest, I stopped listening to Triple J probably when I was 23, which is kind of the age that you're supposed to stop listening to Triple J. It's for like, you know, the 18 to 24 market generally, right? So a lot of people complain about Triple J not being good anymore, but what they don't realize is that they're out of the youth radio demographic, right? That's why every time someone complains about Triple J, I'm like, no, you're just old now. I feel it, right? You know you're old when you don't know the artist that won the Hottest 100, okay? That's when you know. But I still listen because I love to hear what makes it, what doesn't. I like to kind of analyze kind of where music is at, and I have a lot of thoughts on this year's Hottest 100. I definitely knew a lot more of the songs than last year, and I think that is representative of a shift in Triple J. I think they are kind of leaning more towards playing some more mainstream stuff now. It used to be very indie. Like, I remember one year there was like a petition for Taylor Swift to win the Hottest 100 with Shake It Off, but they banned Taylor Swift from being nominated, which, you know, I think is weird, but now this year you see a lot of mainstream artists getting in. Of course, the winner really surprised me. I've never heard the song. I don't particularly like it. It's Paint the Town Red by Doja Cat.
Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
Never heard the song. And again, that's a sign that you've really aged out. But the other thing is, often maybe you're not super familiar with the song, but you've kind of just through osmosis, you've heard it a bit, but I've never heard that song. I have heard, of course, of Doja Cat, but yeah, it was really interesting for a few reasons. I want to do a little shout out to Angie McMahon got in. She's my, I knew her before she was famous. Like, she was around back when I was at school and she was always doing music and stuff, and I was mates with her. One of my best friends who was here the other night having beers on my balcony, he is a drummer and he used to play in a band called The Fabric with Angie McMahon. And I just think it's really cool that she's now in the Hottest 100. Awesome work to Angie. I actually remember when I was first starting out in radio, and Angie, I guess, was very early in her music career. I bumped into her at a radio station. I was like, oh, what are you doing? And that's probably one of the last times I saw her. I think I might have gone to her 21st, but again, that was a long time ago. But yeah, anyway, very, very cool. Very, very cool. So that was great. The other thing that completely blew my mind and I was not expecting at all is Blink-182 made it into the Hottest 100. I think in the 50s with song from the new album, More Than You Know. I really did not expect them as a Blink fan, but I was so happy that they got in. Blink-182, I realized, is, I think I've got a stat, right? I'm pretty sure Blink-182 are the only artist in history to have a song in the Hottest 100 in every decade it's existed. They had a song they had songs in the 90s, particularly Damn It, All the Small Things, and What's My Age Again were in the Hottest 100 in the 90s. In the 2000s, they had songs like The Rock Show and Feelin' This was in the 2004 one, 20 years ago. In the 2010s, in 2016, they had Bored to Death. And then in 2024, they've had More Than You Know. Probably the only artist that has had one every decade since it existed. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that, but I think it was awesome. Also, kind of they made it in twice because Slowly Slowly, an Australian punk band, covered their song I Miss You for a version, which also made it in. Honestly, I was surprised that got in because I really didn't expect it to, because I didn't think it was a great cover. I actually don't mind Slowly Slowly, but yeah, it didn't really capture what makes that song so great. I think it's more to do with the, there's a fly on the camera lens. If anyone's watching the video, a fly might crawl across the camera lens, and I have no idea what that's going to look like for the video, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, I think the jilted kind of vocal spread between Mark and Tom on that song in the original is what makes it good, and anyone who tries to do just a cover of the song where they just sing it, it just doesn't capture what made that song great. Of course, the Barbie movie really cleaned up with its soundtrack. There were a bunch of songs in there that made it pretty high. Of course, there was, I think, Nicki Minaj's Barbie Girl. There was Dance the Night Away. And one of the best tracks I genuinely think of the last year, which is Billie Eilish's song, What Was I Made For? What was I made for? That song was, I think, the final song in the Barbie movie, not the credit song, like the final song where Barbie, the character, confronts the creator of Barbie. And it's like, what was I made for? And it's all about like, I'm just a toy, you paid money for me, what was I made for? It's very philosophical, very existential, very nihilistic, very beautiful writing, great lyrics, perfect for the scene it was in. Like, it was a purpose-made song, I'm pretty sure, for that scene, for that movie, for that soundtrack. But I think it absolutely nails what it was meant to do, and it's just a gorgeous song. It's absolutely incredible. Also heard a lot of G-Flip. I think G-Flip, who is an Australian artist, they crossed a record of having the most ever songs in one Triple J Hottest 100 countdown. And I haven't listened, I know G-Flip's quite big, but I haven't ever listened to one of their albums, but I listened to their recent album, Drummer. They have some great songs. I really liked the song Australia that made it quite high in the countdown. Are you back home in Australia? Are you on to someone great? And then, of course, a lot from Olivia Rodrigo. Now, I know this is controversial because on this podcast a few years ago, I was like one of the biggest advocates of Paramore getting writing credit on Olivia Rodrigo's song. What was her song that she made? The one that was a copy of Misery Business. God, I can't even remember. Why can I not remember that song now? Oh, Good For You. Good For You, I got it. Yeah, you guys know the song. But I always maintained Good For You is a good song. It just is a copy of Misery Business. And I actually think Olivia Rodrigo is amazing. What she did on her most recent album, it's just incredible pop music with like a pop punk sound. And I love pop punk and punk music. I really liked it. And of course, Vampire made it really high. And that's a fantastic song as well. Bleeding me dry like a goddamn vampire. A lot from the Kid Laroi. I genuinely think Kid Laroi is one of the best Australian artists of all time. I think his music is incredible. I know, because Kid Laroi to me feels like the epitome of what old people, in inverted commas, would listen to and be like, what is this? Music isn't the same anymore. I think Kid Laroi is doing the most creative, incredible stuff in music at the moment, and I think I'm a huge fan. So great to see a bunch of his music get in. And then I guess, again, probably one of the best modern songwriters that I also think is similar to Kid Laroi. He's probably much bigger, but Post Malone made it in. Song Chemical. Chemical is an incredible song as well. I genuinely think some really good songs made it into the Hottest 100 this year. And again, as an old school as an older guy who loved the new Blink-182 album, I thought it was absolutely incredible that they made it into the 50s of the Hottest 100. Just because I think that album is quickly becoming one of my favorite albums of all time, and just to get it recognized on that level to me is awesome, that like people younger than me are discovering this music. And funnily enough, More Than You Know, which is the song that made it in. It's probably one of my least favorite tracks on the album, which I know to many people would probably be blasphemous, but genuinely it's one of my least favorite, but I'm still so stoked it made it in. Let me know your thoughts on the Hottest 100. If any of your favorite songs made it in, I'd be really keen to hear other people's thoughts.